Heather Pringle is the author of a new book about Nazi archaeologists. She writes about scientists who were obsessed with finding any trace of the lost Atlantean race.
In the eyes of many Nazis, Atlantis was the mythical homeland of the Aryan race. They thought that they would be tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. They also thought that they were very warlike.
In 1935, Himmler assembled a team of scientists who were loyal to the Nazi Party. The research institute was called Das Ahnenerbe, or Ancestral Heritage Society.
It was an institute whose ostensible purpose was to research the great deeds and accomplishments of the Germanic peoples in the past.
Both believed that the Aryans, a mythical and superior race, had invented everything of value in human history, from agriculture to architecture, the creation of theater, and fine art. According to Himmler, this great Aryan culture came to life thousands of years ago, an island continent they believed existed in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. To find a trace of these ancestors, the Nazis trained their sights on the Canary Islands, off the coast of Africa.
They saw this as being sort of the southern edge of this sort of mythical Atlantean continent. And they also were really kind of focused on accounts of mummies that had been found on the Canary Islands that had kind of blonde hair.
The mummies had been examined. They claimed the blonde-haired mummies were proof that Atlanteans had once lived on the Canary Islands. And most importantly, they were Aryans. Now that they had proof of an Atlantean fatherland, the Nazi scientists concocted an even more bizarre theory to explain its destruction and disappearance. It was called the world ice theory. As the ice melted, these massive glaciers receded. Atlantis was simply scrubbed away, buried under the water. But what happened to the people?
The inhabitants of Atlantis, according to this theory, then fled to various areas that were thought to be safe refuges. They would flee to Tibet, they would flee to the Bolivian Andes.
The search for these Atlanteans would consume Heinrich Himmler. In 1938, he sent teams of archaeologists on research missions around the world. Nazi scientists invaded dozens of sacred sites, frantically digging for Aryan relics. Anthropologists were also dispatched. Their goal was to find proof of Aryan blood among existing tribes. This rare film was shot in Tibet. It shows Bruno Baker, one of the Ahnenerbe's top physical anthropologists, performing racial measurements on Tibetan tribesmen.
They would do measurements of the head, the breadth and the width of the skull and so on. And the idea being that they were looking for certain measurements that they thought represented Nordic or Aryan traits.
Baker concluded that these peaceful Tibetans were once fierce Aryan warriors. He returned to Germany, where his racial measurement work received high praise.
When we return, looking for a lost book of records from Atlantis.
If the Atlanteans indeed did hide their records, then what better place than underneath a pyramid?
But first, where did the Atlanteans go? Are they with us today?
The Atlanteans haven't gone away.
That's coming up.
According to Edgar Casey, there were 3 sets of records from Atlantis. One sank beneath the waves when Atlantis was destroyed. One went to Egypt and lies buried beneath the right paw of the Sphinx. And the third set came here to the Yucatan Peninsula. Could Casey be right? Could there be records stashed somewhere which would not only prove Atlantis existed, but also answer our questions about the origins of mankind?
It's my belief that if the Atlantean Hall of Records are found at any of the 3 sites, Egypt, Yucatan, or Bimini, that it would be in everyone's interest that an archaeologist, that someone from science be involved with the process, so that there's no question of whether it's real or not real.
Laura Little, who has done extensive research on the subject, believes the records that went to the Yucatan are beneath an ancient Mayan temple in Guatemala.
It's such a monstrous and beautiful set of ruins, but nobody has been able to get everything done that needs to be done in that site.
According to John Van Auken, that's because few mainstream archaeologists are willing to risk their reputations on projects that involve the A word, Atlantis.
The A word turns off archaeologists real fast. When you say Atlantis, you're into legend and lore, not into history and fact.
Still, John Van Auken and Laura Little are hopeful that eventually a Guatemalan archaeologist will agree to work with them there.
The Atlanteans joined with and may have been part of the bloodline of these particular cultures. Edgar Casey does say that the Mayans are descended from Atlanteans as well as other groups. So it actually should raise their culture up in the Casey way of looking at it.
The Atlanteans haven't gone away. Let's say, for argument's sake, that none of the originals exist, but their bloodline exists.
Atlantis may have been lost 12,000 years ago, but according to Sarian, dangerous tendencies have been handed down from one generation to the next.
Because these individuals changed our DNA forever. Homo Atlantis was created, and Homo Atlantis has reconceived. His offspring have continued down the centuries.
It's a conspiracy that rivals the Da Vinci Code, where an ancient and powerful line of royal blood is handed down, a secret hidden in plain sight. But instead of the blood of Christ coursing through their veins, these modern-day Atlanteans carry the traits of alien visitors who first came here thousands of years ago.
We also have to deal with the fact that there's some individuals on this earth who are more inclined towards their alien strain, who either consciously or unconsciously align with the alien as opposed to the human inside of us.
Sarian's theories also call to mind the workings of the so-called Illuminati, a secret society which supposedly controls world affairs. In Sarian's view, the corrupt descendants of Atlantis have been a conspiratorial force throughout human history.
These are the people who would be the royal dynasties of Europe, and their lieutenants and their agents. We have questions about the House of Hanover. We have questions about the Habsburgs.
According to Sarian, there is a vast conspiracy of silence among secret societies like the Freemasons. Although the group denies it, Sarian believes the Freemasons and other societies are modern-day Atlanteans who have secret plans to leave the planet before the apocalypse.
We were invaded by forces that shouldn't have been here, who have no love for us, who have no love for the planet, and they want to change galactic address. So the agenda has been to move history forward to the point where they can rebuild the technology that they had once upon a time, to vacate the planet and move